Today, everyone is focused on the price of Bitcoin, the stock market, or whether they should invest in gold to protect themselves from inflation. They are looking at these assets as tools for financial freedom, but they are completely missing the massive structural change happening right beneath their feet. The question is not which asset will make you rich next year. The question is, what happens to your freedom when the United States government officially bans physical cash and replaces it with a programmable digital currency that they control absolutely? I am Professor Jiang Miller. Today we are going to look at central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. We are going to look at the Federal Reserve's FedNow system, and I am going to explain exactly how this new digital dollar is the ultimate trap, designed to save a collapsing $39 trillion debt system by enslaving the American consumer. I will break this down step by step in plain, simple English. Part 1. The death of privacy and the push for convenience. For your entire life, cash has represented freedom. If you have a $20 bill in your pocket, you can buy anything from anyone, and the government has no idea that the transaction occurred. Cash is private. Cash is decentralized. Cash is the final barrier between you and total state surveillance. But for the last decade, there has been a coordinated global push to demonize physical money. The media tells you that cash is dirty, that it is used only by criminals, and that digital payments are safer and more convenient. This is the first layer of the illusion. They are weaponizing your desire for convenience to force you into a purely digital environment. They want to create a world where every single transaction, from buying a coffee to paying your mortgage, leaves a permanent, traceable digital footprint that the Federal Reserve can scan in real time. Part 2. Programmable money, the weapon of the future. This brings us to what the media is completely hiding from you. They treat the coming digital dollar, or CBDC, like it is just a digital version of the money you have in your bank account right now. This is a lie. A CBDC is not money. It is a programmable control mechanism. Unlike the money in your bank today, which is a liability of a private bank, a CBDC is a direct liability of the Federal Reserve. It is programmable code. This means the government can place conditions on how, when, and where you are allowed to spend your money. They can program the digital dollar so that you can only spend it on approved goods. They can ban you from buying ammunition, firearms, alcohol, or even specific types of food if the government decides that it is bad for the environment or your health. They no longer need to pass laws to control your behavior. They simply program your money to disobey you. Part 3. The fatal domino effect. Now I want you to pay close attention because this is the exact sequence of events that leads from the rollout of the digital dollar to the end of free will in America. This is how the debt trap we discussed in previous breakdowns is finally closed. Step 1. The system rolls out FedNow or a similar instant payment architecture. They advertise it as a faster, cheaper alternative to credit cards and wire transfers. The public, loving convenience, adopts it quickly. Step 2. Washington manufactures or exploits a crisis. A new pandemic, a major cyber attack on the banking system, or a devastating wave of hyperinflation caused by the $39 trillion debt. Step 3. To solve the crisis, the government announces that physical cash is unsafe or outdated. They declare a mandatory exchange period. You must deposit your physical cash into a digital Fed account or it becomes worthless. Step 4. This is the moment the trap closes. Once you are trapped in the purely digital system, the government introduces negative interest rates. Because you cannot withdraw your money as cash to keep it safe under your mattress, they can force you to spend it. Your bank account begins to shrink by 5% a year just for sitting there. They are taxing your savings to force you to consume and save the economy. Step 5. The introduction of programmable expiration dates. To stimulate the economy even faster, the government programs your digital dollars to expire. They send you a stimulus check of 2,000 digital dollars, but they give you a condition. You must spend this money within 30 days on approved domestic goods, or it vanishes from your account. Your wealth is no longer an asset. It is a temporary permission slip to exist. Step 6. The final domino. The digital dollar is integrated with a social credit system. If you post something on social media that the government dislikes, if you donate to the wrong political candidate, or if your carbon footprint is too high, your programmable money is automatically turned off. You cannot buy food, you cannot buy fuel, you are vaporized from the economy. Total control. achieved without a single shot being fired. Part 4. Saving the debt machine. Many people ask, why would the government do this? Why would they want to enslave their own population? As I explained in video 3, the United States is $39 trillion in debt. That debt mathematically cannot be repaid with the current economic system. The Federal Reserve must constantly print money, which causes massive inflation. In a cash-based system, inflation is dangerous for the government because when people get scared, they run to the bank, withdraw their cash, and buy hard assets like gold or food. This is called a bank run. A bank run instantly crashes the fractional reserve banking system. But in a purely digital, programmable system, you cannot run to the bank. There is no cash to withdraw. You are trapped. The government can use programmable money to force you to accept negative interest rates and hyperinflation without any risk of the system collapsing. They are implementing the digital dollar not to make your life easier, but to prevent the $39 trillion pyramid from crumbling. Part 5. The echo of history. People think a social credit system and programmable money could never happen in America. They think it is something that only happens in distant dictatorship like China. But history and recent events tell us a very different story. Look at what happened in Canada recently during the trucker protests. The government, using emergency powers, did not arrest the truckers. They simply ordered the banks to freeze their accounts. They turned off their ability to survive. Thousands of citizens were financially vaporized because they donated $20 to a protest the government disliked. This was a test run. Washington watched that experiment, and they realized that controlling the money is more powerful than controlling the military. Or look at the hyperinflation in Weimar Germany in the 1920s. People rushed to spend their money as soon as they received it because it was losing value by the hour. A programmable digital currency is simply the modern, technologically advanced version of that. It is a mechanism to force the population to absorb the inflation caused by their government's reckless spending. The trap has been set. The rollout of CBDCs and the end of physical cash is not a theory. It is an active Federal Reserve project. The mainstream media will continue to distract you with political scandals and celebrity news, ignoring the fact that the very nature of human freedom is being reprogrammed into a digital prison. The goal of this analysis is to give you the clarity that Washington refuses to provide. You must understand that convenience is the bait, and the programmable digital dollar is the trap. You need to prepare your finances right now. You need to reduce your reliance on the banking system. You need to move your wealth out of digital digits and into hard physical assets that cannot be turned off by a government bureaucrat. If you want to understand the real truth behind the headlines, and if you want clear, simple breakdowns of the events shaping our global economy, subscribe to the channel right now. And I want to ask you a question. When the digital dollar trap is finally rolled out, what will be the final boundary you refuse to cross? Will you accept programmable money if it means receiving a government stimulus? Or will you fight to maintain your financial privacy? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read them all. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next breakdown.